Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Thoroughly Entertained. This week, my sister Krista and I saw The Host and G.I. Joe Retaliation.
So this week we saw The Host first.
In The Host, Melanie Strider gets captured by a race of aliens who implant a soul into her body, but she fights against the occupation of that soul and tries to lead herself back to the human resistance.
I really liked the cinematography of it. Andrew Niccol was the director and one of the co-writers of the piece, and it was beautiful, and the cinematography really was spectacular.
Yeah, I love that part of it.
And it really just well done. This world that they created was really wonderful. And I think for me that was one of the strongest features in the movie. What did you like?
I agree. I thought the visual style of the movie was terrific. I also thought the acting was really good. I thought Saoirse Ronan does an excellent job having to kind of play a dual role of Melanie and Wanda. I like the two guys that kind of play the two other pivotal points of the love triangle. Max Irons plays Jared and Jake Abel plays Ian. I thought those guys were both mature, kind of more grown men than kind of little boys, which we often see like in these types of movies. And I thought they did a kind of a really good job.
And I agree with you on that. Probably my favorite character was Diana Kruger's role, actually. I found her to be nuanced, and when she's in the process of unraveling and getting like darker as this seeker character, I actually thought that she handled that really well by just really a lot of that acting done in her eyes particularly. And I thought that shows a much higher level quality of acting than I've seen in previous work from her. And I really appreciated that from her. Yeah,
she's been better and better the more I've seen her. I thought she was really good in Unknown when she was in that movie with Liam Neeson, but I thought this was her strongest work to date. I agree with that. Okay, so what was something that maybe you didn't like as much?
Probably the biggest complaint I had with the movie is sometimes, and viewers, you might feel this way as well, that when you see a trailer, you expect the movie to, in a lot of ways, mimic the trailer.
Right.
Like the pacing, the sequence, all of that stuff. Well, in the trailer for The Host, they build the premise of the love story between Melanie and Jared. And then you, of course, find out that she gets taken over by the aliens and then has to come back and try to find him and reunite somehow. But in the movie, the very opening sequence, she gets taken, and we actually only learn about her love affair with Jared through flashbacks. And so I did not have the same sense of emotional connection to the character and to her as I wanted to, and I longed for. Like, I want to feel for the characters, but the device wasn't set up in a way for me to feel or care as much as I was hoping to.
Yeah, that was probably what I thought was maybe a weakness of the storytelling, essentially. The other thing that I didn't like so much is I thought it was at times a little bit too talky. Instead of trusting the audience to understand kind of the nuance of things that were happening, they made sure to spell everything out in the dialogue. They made sure if something was happening in a scene, then somebody in that scene was saying exactly what was happening so that everyone understood. And I think that's something that maybe is a little bit lazy in your storytelling, especially if you feel like you're telling the story in an effective way. You don't always necessarily have to remind people, oh, hey, by the way, just in case you didn't get it, this is what's happening right now.
Right.
And I thought that made the movie at times, and some scenes, a little too wordy, when the visuals themselves were strong enough, they didn't need quite as much exposition.
I absolutely agree with that. And I also felt at times that it was a little slow because of that. Because they had more dialogue than was necessary, you know, it just dragged at times for me. And so I know for you, you liked it way more than you were anticipating.
Yeah.
What score would you give it?
I gave it a B+. I did not have very high expectations going into it because the last couple of movies that have been this style, I haven't really liked them very much. But I thought the acting was excellent and visually it was gorgeous, so I gave it a B+.
I gave it a B- in this instance because I just did not have that same sense of emotional connection that I was hoping for. And
that should be the strength of a movie like this, right?
Okay. So for me, I didn't enjoy it as much as I had wanted to. So I had expected to like it more, sort of a reverse situation for us.
Okay, so the second movie we saw this weekend was G.I. Joe Retaliation.
In G.I. Joe Retaliation, the terrorist organization Cobra has taken over the White House and has plans to destroy the world. And so the G.I. Joe force must take it back.
This is a little, kind of in the same vein as the first movie. I liked this more than you liked it. I really thought it was a fun, fast-paced action movie. I thought, you know, again, not the most plausible plot in the history of the world, but again, I've always been kind of a G.I. Joe fan. When I was a kid, I really liked it a lot. And, you know, I thought the actors in this movie were better than the actors they had cast in the first movie. I thought the story was more fun. I thought, you know, the action sequences were better. So this was a huge upgrade over the first G.I. Joe for me, and I liked it quite a bit.
Well, I know with movies like this that there has to be this willing suspension of disbelief. Like, you just have to go in understanding that it's going to be corny and lame
a little
at times.
ridiculous, but that should be okay.
And yes, I mean, this is your traditional action movie. There was bombs and guns and dead people and fun martial arts sequences.
Ninjas.
And I actually liked
ninjas.
the ninjas. But of course, then there's just the ridiculous factor that sometimes I have a hard time really suspending. The fact that you have this, like, ninja who works for the government, who's a soldier, but doesn't have to wear a uniform. And then you have the Cobra. Like, they don't even really feel evil. But ha ha ha, they have taken over the world. And I just like, you know, like, it just seems like the very extreme version of what it means to be, you know, like evil and all of those things, as opposed to like true evil is so nuanced and subtle and you know, like, and it's not like over the top crazy.
It's not cackling and shaking fists at people. Yeah, I understand what you mean about that. And probably the biggest weakness for me overall in the whole movie was you never really kind of understand what Cobra's trying to accomplish. They take over the White House. They create this new super weapon, but I don't, like, Cobra Commander says he wants to take over the world. I don't really know what that means. Like, he wants the administrative duties of governing the entire planet. You don't kind of really understand what the point of it is. It's just basically a setup for, like, hey, good guys here, bad guys there. Let's get it on. You know, which, again, I thought that was the best part of the movie. I thought The Rock is terrific in it.
He is great.
I thought Adrian Palicki's kind of a great femme fatale butt kicker. Right. You know, the guys that play the ninjas, Ray Park as Snake Eyes and Byung-hun Lee as Storm Shadow, were both brilliant, you know, with their physicality. But, yeah, obviously there's holes in the story of something like this. I didn't say I was nominating it for an Oscar.
No,
but I had a lot of fun watching it, and I'm willing to set the things that are ridiculous about it aside because I just wanted to see stuff blow up.
I mean, I was entertained. I just think in our age of storytelling,
yes,
you can give me more story.
Oh,
that
yes,
makes sense.
I agree with that.
Yes. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do G.I. Joe, just give me a little more story.
Trust me, if you didn't think this story was good, you would have hated the first one. That's all I'm saying. The first movie was terrible. I had my reservations going into this one, but I thought they cast it in a way that was a little bit more effective, and I thought they just stuck to the action things and kept the more ridiculous things kind of out of the way.
I see. All right. Well.
So I gave this one a B, and you gave it a
C+.
Okay. So an enjoyable time at the theater again. I liked it more than you did.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Thoroughly Entertained. Next week, we're going to be checking out the 20th anniversary 3D re-release of Jurassic Park, as well as talking about the new NBC series, Hannibal. Now, as always, we want you to leave comments below. Make sure to like us on Facebook and YouTube and all the other places you can like us. Of course, we're having a competition this week to win a $50 gift card. It will end on April 5th, so make sure to enter now. And as always, join us on the website at Thoroughly Entertained as we continue on our quest to be thoroughly entertained.